Hi, we're back again with our Talking in American English series. This is lesson 6. I will have a simple conversation and many sentences with the verb forms because this fourth group has a lot of words that I'm going to talk about, and they are unique because they are the same in the fourth and fifth columns, which are past definite time and past general time. So we're going to look at these, and I'm going to leave the chart up here so that as I use the sentences and as I use the conversation, you'll be able to see these. Before I do the actual verbs, I want to do a little bit of practice on the vocabulary included that might be tricky. So we have the word buy, and buy, and buy. This is the one we'll be using. It's the verb, and it's when you pay money and you get something. I buy groceries. Buy is also a preposition. I walk by the park. Buy, bye, short for goodbye. Then we have these words that are confusing. This one is a noun, and it's pronounced wind. The wind is blowing. This one is a verb, and it is pronounced wind. Wind. I wind up the stream. Then we have this verb, ring, and we studied it already. Ring, rang, rung. And it's a verb, ring the bell. This is not supposed to be capitalized. That's a mistake. But ring is also a noun. She wears a gold ring on her finger. Then this verb we will have today, ring, and it's a verb. It means to twist. I wring the water out of the cloth. And it means wring as to take it in your hands and twist different directions and the water comes out. So that's the basic way we use that word. But they're pronounced the same. Ring, ring, ring. There's a silent W. I wanted you to know this comparison before we look at the verbs. Now we've got bend, and in this form it just adds an S, and in this form it adds the ing like we always do, so I'm not going over those two columns right now. Bend, bent, bent, same. Whether it has have bent or just bent. Bleed, bled, bled. Feed, fed, fed. Hold, held, held. Weep, wept, wept. And all of these have that eh sound. And then we get to the next group that has the aw sound. You drop your jaw more and your lips come in a little bit. Aw. So we have bring, brought, brought. Buy, bought, bought. Teach, taught, taught. Think, thought, thought. Seek, sought, sought. Catch, caught, caught. Fight, fought, fought. Then we get into the words that have the sound. Cling, clung, clung. Dig, dug, dug. Stick, stuck, stuck. Swing, swung, although an older version would say swang sometimes. Swing, swung, swung. Ring, rung, rung. Stand, stood. It's not stewed, it's stood, stood. Tell, told, told. Build, built, built. Win, won, won. It's pronounced like the number 1. Wind, it looks like wind, but it's a verb, so it's wind, and then its past and past participle are wound, wound. You have to go ow, ound. Okay, the other meanings, if you don't know them, you'll pick up as we do the sentences. Since there's so many, let me get started. They bend the wire. Here's a wire, and I'm bending. That's bending. The river bends ahead. The river's going this way, and then it turns. She is bending over as if she is bowing. The tree bent in the wind. It has bent very far. Bleed. Wounds bleed. Now that's that same word that we pronounce wound when it's a verb and wound when it's a noun. Wounds, a cut that's very bad, bleeds. The color bleeds. That, like if this blue here runs into the pink when I wash it, we say it bleeds. My knee is bleeding. I fell. The cut on his finger bled a lot. Soldiers have bled to death after battles. Very sad. Past, past. The spelling is the same. Farmers feed their cattle. She feeds stray animals. A stray animal is one that seems that it doesn't have a home or an owner. It's just running around loose. So it's a stray animal. He is feeding his pet. She fed paper into the shredder and chopped it up. The charity, that's an organization that helps people, has fed hundreds of hungry people. And then the verb hold. They hold hands. So romantic. The jar holds 6 ounces. That's how much you can put in. He is holding his breath. He held the door open, very polite. My team at work, my team has held 5 meetings this week. Now the reason these are over is because they don't change the spelling of the main word. Hold, holds, holding stays the same. These change. I weep. That means you cry softly, not loudly. I weep when I hear sad news. She weeps quietly. The mothers are weeping as the children leave. It's the first day of school. The mothers are weeping because their child is leaving. He wept alone. He has wept beside his sick son's bed every night. You bring cake. She brings cookies. He is bringing soda. They brought candy. I have brought nothing. We have enough. We don't need anything else. Okay? We buy books. Give money to get. We buy books often. He buys pens. Now she is buying shoes. I bought 5 hats. I have bought too many. I teach English. She teaches piano. Now remember, teach ends with ch, and then the S, you can't hear the S, so we put an E in there. Teaches piano. They are teaching math. I taught science earlier. He has taught ballet. How cool. Cats catch mice. She catches the ball. He is catching a cold. Now remember up here, I had to do the CHES. They caught fish. They have caught the flu. Oh my, they're sick. We fight for right. He fights crime. The boat, actually the people in the boat, but we'll say the boat, is fighting against the current. The water's going this way and the boat's trying to go this way. So it's fighting against the current. He fought in the war. The lawyer has fought for justice. Thank you, lawyer. The children cling to their mother. Cling, let me see if I can give you an example of cling. See, here's a piece of tissue. It's clinging for a second anyway. It clings, it sticks, but there's no glue, it just sticks. Okay, that's clinging. Now the children cling to their mother. They're holding on tightly to her legs. They're clinging. The sock clings to the sweater. That's more like the little tissue dip. They are clinging to the side of the pool. They're not swimming, they're holding on to the side. The man clung to the rope. He did not want to fall. He clung to the rope. They have clung to hope in spite of hardships. They didn't let go of hope. We dig down deep to remove the weeds, the roots and all. The dog digs in the flower bed. No, dog, don't do that. The police are digging into the facts of the report. It doesn't have to be digging dirt. It could be dig into details of information. I dug up the dead tree. They have dug a ditch along the side of the road. Now we have the verb stick, as in I'm going to stick this right there. It probably is going to fall, but for a moment it's sticking. Okay. I stick tape over any torn paper. Chewing gum sticks to your shoe sometimes. She is sticking to her plan, not giving up. They stuck a sign onto the pole. I stuck a paper on the bookshelf. The friends have stuck together all these years. They never let go of each other. They're still good friends. The children swing high in the swings. The player swings his bat hard. The broken rope is swinging back and forth. The player swung at a bad pitch. The news has swung voters to change their vote. That's often used in elections. The news has caused the voters to swing the other direction. So the news has swung voters to change their vote. Wring, I've already told you about wring, twisting. Washing machines wring the water out as they spin. He wrings his hands in worry. I told you about wringing your hands. She is wringing the wet towel with her hands. They wrung out their wet clothes. They finally have wrung the truth out of the lying man. Now, they're not literally twisting him. They just keep asking until he feels all uptight and he just finally says the truth. We stand together against evil. The tall tree stands beside the road. They are standing still for the photo. She stood near the doorway. They have stood up to the bullies. They did not let the bullies win. They stood up to them. And the very common word tell, they always tell the truth. The meteorologist, person who studies weather, the meteorologist tells us about the weather. She is telling us a story about her youth when she was young. They told us to wait until the storm is over. She has told the neighbors about her garage sale. She's not selling her garage. It's common in America. If you have a lot of things in your house that you don't need anymore, you go into your garage, set up a table, put all those items out, ask people to come over, and they will buy those things for just a little bit of money. You clean your house, and you didn't have to throw it away. The children sometimes win and sometimes lose. She wins almost every chess game. He is winning her heart with his thoughtfulness. They won the football game last night. They have won the championship for 3 years. And then that word wind, as in, here's a cord, I'm going to wind it up. That's winding. I wind the old clock each morning with the key, probably. The river winds through the countryside. She is winding the string around a stick. I wound up the long strip of cloth. The wind, we're getting wind in there, the wind has wound the flag around the pole. They build bridges. She builds a sandcastle on the beach. He is building a consensus agreement among the group. They built several houses on this street last year. He has built a good reputation over the years. Everyone knows he's a good person. And our conversation is happening at work. Jane says, Fred, something is not right about the report. Shall we seek an opportunity to talk with our supervisor? Seek means to look for with very much concentration, not just looking around, but really looking hard. Fred says, yes, I agree, let's go. Jane says, Mr. Jones, may we talk with you? Mr. Jones says, sure, Miss Smith. What is the problem? Jane says, I think something is wrong with last month's report. My coworker thinks something is wrong also. Fred says, I sought a way to understand it. Jane has sought for a solution as well. However, we didn't find one. Mr. Jones, I thought the same thing. It didn't seem right. I have thought about having someone do the report again. I am seeking some people to help me. Will you do it? Fred says. Of course. I am thinking Jane could lead in redoing the report. She always seeks the most effective way to do things. Mr. Jones says, her last supervisor thought she was a very good employee. Okay, I have thought about this, and I want you, Jane, to check the report again and find any errors. Fred, you help her. Jane and Fred, yes, sir. And so we have one more group of verb forms for the next video, and then we'll do something different.